One of the masters of horror is back with a 1930s period drama. You know what? He made Pan's Labyrinth, so I don't give a shit. I'm down for whatever he does. Nightmare Alley is brought to us by director Guillermo Del Toro and stars Bradley Cooper, Cate Blanchett, Willem Dafoe, Rooney Mara, and Richard Jenkins. An ambitious carny with a talent for manipulating people with a few well-spoken words hooks up with a female psychiatrist who is even more dangerous than him. So Nightmare Alley comes to us from Guillermo Del Toro, who typically is more rooted in horror or sci-fi, especially horror. Even his last film, the Academy Award-winning The Shape of Water, while mainly a drama, still had some sci-fi and fantasy theme. This film, though, has none of that. There's nothing supernatural, there's nothing sci-fi, there's no fantasy, there's nothing. This is just real-life drama. I guess maybe thriller drama, but mostly just drama. And while he hasn't done a movie that was just straight-up drama that didn't have some type of fantasy or sci-fi or horror element to lean on, I gotta say that much like the rest of his films, the guy kinda knocked it out of the park here. Nightmare Alley was a great film. Nightmare Alley was also a film that's really hard to talk about specifics without spoiling it. And that is not what I want to do. Basically, what I can tell you is that we follow Bradley Cooper, a guy who has a past that we find out more about as the movie goes on, and he ends up becoming a carny. While working his way up in this carnival, he starts learning some of the tricks of the trade, and he befriends the psychics that are there. Now, they're not really psychic, it's all a con, but he learns how to do this. He learns like this secret language they have, and how they use like body language and things like that out in the crowd to let you know, and also just how to manipulate people. While all this is going down, he meets one of the other performers at the carnival, Molly, played by Rooney Mara, and they hook up and seemingly fall in love. Soon they form their own act where he goes and reads the minds of people out in the audience, and he just does a really good job of it. They branch out on their own and become a really famous act. After hitting it big, he gets involved with a female psychiatrist played by Cate Blanchett, who wants to get involved with this con game he's got going on. And from there, things get kind of complicated, and everything doesn't work out the way that Stan, the character that Bradley Cooper plays, thinks it's going to. Right off the bat, the first thing you will notice about this movie is one of the things you notice about all of Guillermo del Toro's movies is that this movie looks fantastic. Every frame of this movie looks like it was picked over meticulously with a comb. You ever see those movies where just when watching it, you can tell that the director was like super anal and so meticulous about every single little itty bitty detail in the movie? Wes Anderson, he's one of the ones that do that. Look at any of his movies and they have that look as well. It's a very unique look. Del Toro's movies have that look, and this one probably has that look more than any of his films in the past. It really gives a feeling of a true passion of love here. Now, this is not a short movie. It's just shy of about 2.5 hours long, and it does feel like it. But it's a really good 2.5 hours. This is a really interesting story that starts in one place and ends up way over here where you never thought it would. Now, the middle portion of the film does have a few moments that drag a bit, but not to the point of boredom. But as much as I like this film, I can see there was probably a little bit of fat that could have been trimmed. It could have been tightened up just a bit there in the middle. Not a lot. We didn't need to lose a lot because, man, everything in this movie is just awesome, looks great, and it was a joy to watch. But as far as like the narrative and pacing goes, yeah, they could have probably cut out about 10 or 15 minutes in that middle portion and we wouldn't have really lost anything. Thankfully, it's not like in one single part of the movie. It's throughout that entire middle portion, and in a 2.5 hour long movie, that middle portion is pretty fucking long, so it's real spread out and you never get bored. Now, the first third and the last third of the film are both just fucking amazing. Now, I did gravitate a bit more to the first part of the film. I really liked this part of the film as we were learning about these characters and all the things that go on in this carnival and how he's learning all these new traits and just all that. That entire part of the movie was really cool. Also, that was the part of the movie that featured most predominantly Willem Dafoe, and Willem Dafoe's character in this movie is just fucking awesome. Now, the last third of the film is no slouch either. That part of the movie is really good. This is when we're getting into the bigger, meatier part of the story, and the ending is just holy shit, wow, that was a really good ending. It's not some big bombastic ending. It's not some just like blow your mind ending. It's just a really, really good damn ending to this movie. And that sentiment kind of goes to the whole entire movie. I can't point at one part of the movie and say, this was just what made the whole movie. It was the entire thing. This is gonna be an Oscar-nominated movie in a lot of categories, I guarantee it. It was old-fashioned feeling while at the same time kind kind of modern and new and fresh. It had a complex story, but it was never complicated. And the performances, oh my god! Everybody here does a great job. We of course get more time with Bradley Cooper, so he stands out more than anyone else because of that, and he doesn't disappoint. Man, let me just say that for the longest time, I viewed Bradley Cooper as the Hangover guy. That's just what came to mind when I thought of him. Hangover, not a bad movie. I mean, it was entertaining enough. He was good in it, he was funny. But holy fuck, that guy's just been knocking him out of the park for the past few years. This is the best performance I've ever seen out of Bradley Cooper, and he has given us some good ones in the past few years, but this, man, this is some legit acting. This guy is absolutely wonderful here. But so is everybody else. But one more that does come to mind is Willem Dafoe. But I mean, it's fucking Willem Dafoe. He is great in everything. You put Willem Dafoe in the worst movie imaginable, he's still gonna be the highlight. He's gonna be awesome. He's just gonna be awesome in a shit movie. Here, thankfully, he's awesome in an awesome movie. I guess if I had to like nitpick something, I'd say Rooney Mara's character is just underused. It's not bad, and she is actually in a good bit of the movie, but somehow she just seemed underused in the role. She's still really damn good, but it didn't seem like she had as much opportunity to shine as, say, Cate Blanchett, who, oddly enough, isn't in as much of the movie as she is. Like I said, that's really just me trying to nitpick to have something to say in this review. All the performances here are just fucking awesome. I really like the story of Nightmare Alley. While it mainly only concerns this guy and his life as he goes on, it just seems really big and grand, even though, honestly, there's not a whole lot of big grand things that happen in it. But that's just how the movie felt overall. It just felt like this grand affair. It felt like a real movie. I don't know if that makes any sense, but sometimes you see movies and they can even be entertaining, good movies, but they just seem kind of small. This seemed like a big, real movie that you gotta see on the big screen. Guys, Nightmare Alley is a movie that we just don't get a lot of anymore. Hell, I don't know if we ever got a lot of movies like this one. It's got a really personal, yet at the same time, really grand seeming story that kept me enthralled all the way to the end. The performances are some of the best damn performances I've seen in quite some time, and the movie just looks stunning. Like, every single frame of this thing was meticulously, masterfully done. While it does have a few slow parts in the middle portion of the film, that is greatly outweighed by all the other awesomeness in this movie. And it is absolutely worth a buy.
Do it! Do it!
Show me the money!
Do it!
You motherfucker!
So,
Show me the money!
do it.
Going into this movie, I didn't really expect it to be bad. I mean, it's Guillermo Del Toro. The guy has not failed me yet. But man, I wasn't expecting to like this movie as much as I did. It's not traditional Del Toro, that's for damn sure, but if you are a fan of his, you will recognize his fingerprints all over this thing. So if you're a fan of Del Toro's, or you're just looking for a really damn good movie for the night, then check out Nightmare Alley, and I think you're gonna have a great time with it. So there it is, guys, my review of Nightmare Alley. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you want to help out the channel, check out my Patreon in the description below and become a jarhead and get some of the awesome benefits to go along with that, like these guys. And possibly join my top tier and become a bad motherfucker like my man Greg C and Dragon Con. If you liked what I had to say, give me a like. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, St. Louis.
What did you do, Stan? Why did you do that?
Sometimes you don't see the line till you cross it.
So for any longtime Del Toro fans out there that might be wondering, okay, so he's doing a new thing. This is a new genre kind of for him. What about his signature jarring violence that is in most of his movies? Since we don't have the horror elements here, are we losing that? Well, all I can say to that is, fuck no, you're not. While this isn't like a gore fest or anything, when he turns it on, yeah, you'll know this is Guillermo Del Toro. You'll know right then and there that that is his shockingly, out of nowhere, jarring graphic violence. Most notably, there's one part near the end where something happens to a character's face that was out of nowhere, and when it just shows it in all its glory, it's like, oh my, so yeah, it was pretty great.